Hello students, I'm happy to record the last video lecture for this course, and this is about solution of quiz number 3. Yeah. Okay, so first 5 questions are related to a transfer function which is given by is equal to s square plus a1 square, and then you have m1 multiplied by s plus a2 is power m2 divided by s square plus b1 square n1, and then we have s plus b2 and we have n2. Okay, and the questions are, the first question is about what is the number of zeros, right? So number of zeros n will be simply equal to, since it has 2 roots here, right? It will have 2 roots, this also will have this will have only 1 root, so you will have equal to 2 times m1 plus m2 will be the answer, right? Okay, now this is m. Second is a number of poles. So the number of poles is n is equal to, again this will have 2 roots, this will have only 1, so you get 2 n1 plus n2 will be the answer. Number 3 says how many asymptotes it has. So number of asymptotes, okay, are equal to simply the n minus m. Yeah, so whatever you have got here, so n is 2, n1 plus n2 and minus 2 m1 plus m2 is the answer. Okay, number 4 is what is the angle between 2 consecutive asymptotes? Angle between 2 consecutive asymptotes will be simply equal to, so this is the number of asymptotes, right? So this number of asymptotes all will be equally spaced, okay, so around 360 degrees. So that really means will be equal to 360 divided by n minus m degrees. So will be equal to 360 divided by n minus m is this. So 2 n1 plus n2 minus 2 m1 plus m2. Okay. Now the fifth question is what is the point on the real axis where all the asymptotes are going to meet, right? So the point where asymptotes meet will be s equal to and minus, and then you have you can see here these two have the like purely imaginary roots, hence this is not going to count. Yeah, so the real part is 0, so even if you write here it has no meaning, so actually we have to include 0 here, so but that means we will not write it. Here we have so minus already, so we will write here b2 times n2. There are n, so you have b2 times n2, and this is 0, so will be minus here, A2 times M2, right? Okay, and then divided by all of the, here divided by will be the all of them are going to play the role basically, right? So we will have like N1 and N2, M1, M2, all of them are going to play the role. Hence we have to divide it by the same value as this one, yeah, so or simply N minus M, yeah, so this will be 2 N1 plus N2 minus 2 M1 plus M2. Okay, so 1 to 5 we have solved. Now number 6. So here a transfer function is given. Okay, so this is as it's open loop. So this is GS given is equal to KS plus B1 A1, okay, divided by S square plus B1 square. Okay, and you have to find out the break-in breakaway points. Break-in breakaway point. Okay, so if you have been seeing the lecture videos, you recognize this, that the root locus will look like something like this one. So you have, or from here to here, so you will have a root here at the poles here, okay, and then there you have 1 0 here, right? Okay, so this will be B1I, this will be minus B1I, and here you have minus A, and you know that in that case the root locus will look like, there will be a circle, yeah, with this is the radius, and it will go about like this, yeah. Okay, so this will not go that side. Okay, so this is how it will. So from here it will start, go, from here it will break in, break away. This is a perfectly circle that we have seen in various examples during in the lecture videos, also during the live session as well. So this is a perfectly circular. So you know that the radius is, this is minus A, this is A, this is B, so radius is nothing but A square plus B square. And hence this point will be breakaway points, nothing but minus A minus root A square plus B square simply. Yeah, so you can say answer will be S equal to minus A in this, okay, so this is A1, this is B1, B1, this is A1 and B1 here like that. So it will be A1, A1, B1. So minus A1 minus root A1 square plus B1 square. So you simply, you can, if not the root locus, you can actually do it. Otherwise, also you can do is you can use this one and say dk over ds equal to 0, right? So 1 plus k s plus 1 plus s square plus b1 square will be 0. This is the equation of the root locus, and then we can find out k will be equal to minus s square plus b1 square divided by s plus a1. Yeah, so then dk over ds will be equal to minus, and then you have 2s multiplied by s plus a1 minus s square plus b1 square multiplied by this, derivative of this will be 1 divided by s plus a1 whole square will be equal to 0. Yeah, and then this and this can go that side. Finally, what do we get? We get 2s square plus 2a1s minus s square minus b1 square will be 0, or simply s square, and then we get 2a1s minus b1 square equal to 0, and s equal to, from here you can get s equal to minus 2a1 plus minus root 4a1 square, okay, minus 4 times minus b square, so plus b square over 2a, so will be 2, right? And hence what do we get from here is will be equal to minus 2a1 plus minus, and then 2 comes outside, we have a1 square plus b1 square, right, divided by 2, and hence we have two solutions here, right? So we get s equal to basically minus a1 plus minus root a1 square plus b1 square. Okay, so since you got two solutions, you have to be careful with that. Remember that one solution is this one, and the other solution is the on the right half of S plane, which is here. Since this is not on the root locus, hence this point is minus a1 plus root a1 square plus b1 square. So this cannot be your answer because there is no root locus, so hence cannot be breakaway point. So only point could be is this one. Yeah. So hence you have to, so it will go like this. Okay. So the answer is this one. Yeah, and we have seen that, right? So your answer will be minus a1 minus root a1 square plus b1 square. Now question number 7 and 8, and here you have the open loop transfer function given, gs and hs equal to s plus a1 m1 s plus a2 m2 divided by s plus b1 n1 s plus b2 m2. And what is given here also, you will notice that you have a1 greater than 0, a2 greater than a1, b1 greater than a2, and b2 greater than b1. So this is how this is. Yeah. Okay. And also you will know that this n1 or n2 is greater than m1 and m2. Yeah. So you will, to make sure all those things are already, you will notice all those. Okay, so now you have to find out, the question number 7 is about the finding out if root locus between s equal to minus a2 and between s equal to minus a2 and s equal to minus b1, between this point and this point. Yeah. So okay, so how to find out? That really tells you that actually if you see the root locus, at least the points, the zeros and poles, whatever you will see the zeros coming first. So zeros will be, here it will be a1 minus a1, here it will be minus a2, and then you have here will be minus b1, sorry, this will be cross, and then you have minus b2. Yeah. So you have like this one. That really means I'm asking here whether there is a root locus or not. And this is a repeat. How many times? This repeat m1 times. This one repeat 0. of m2 times this n1 times this n2 times, right? So whether it will be here or not will depend on how many numbers, what is whether m1 plus m2 is a odd or even. You know that if you see the lecture videos, if they are even, then all of them will make 180 degree, and even so it will be multiple of 360. That means it is not satisfying the angle rule for the root locus, which says that it has to be multiple of 180 but not multiple of 360. So it should be 180 multiplied by like an odd number. So that really means, that really tells you that root locus can say exists if m1 plus m2 is an odd number. Okay, yeah, and hence that really means that does not exist if m1 plus m2 is an even number. As simple as that. Yeah. Okay. Now number 8. Okay. Number 8 is this is asking whether there is the root locus beyond b1 minus b2, and again it will depend on, regardless of where you are. If you are here, you will see whether m1 is odd or even. If odd exists, if you are here, then whether m1 plus m2 is odd, then only it will exist here. Then m1 plus m2 plus n2, right, whether that is odd, then will exist here. And here you have to add them all and see if it is odd. If adding all means an odd number, that really means it will exist here. So the same thing you can write here. So root locus from s equal to minus b2 to infinity, to minus infinity, we will write that exists if, we can write all of them, right, because we are talking about from here now. If n1 plus n2 plus m1 plus m2 is an odd number, okay, and does not exist if n1 plus n2 plus m1 plus m2 is an even number. Yeah, okay. While solving other problems, note that I did not write k here, okay, but the k will be always there. So root locus will have one variable k which will be given there. Okay, it has to be there because you are varying k and you are plotting it. Second thing is, I may have written TS, but what I mean is a open loop transfer function only. So that is whatever is given in your question, just you apply that. So it will be GS times HS, whatever I have written. Okay. Question number 9. And here the open loop transfer function is given, and which is k and then divided by s plus b cube, and you have to find out the value k where the root locus intersects the imaginary axis. Okay, now if you want the insight, it is first let's understand what is the meaning of that. Okay, so actually what it is telling you, first if you best idea to just draw the root locus first, and then what you will get here is minus b, and this is the repeated root there. Yeah, so repeated poles, and that really means that because of this, the one will go to, there will be three asymptotes, and one will go to infinity. Okay, if there is an odd number, then one will go to infinity. And then the other two will proceed this direction from here and like this one. Angle will be from here to here 60 degree, so that you have 120 degree here, right? And 60 from here to here, and here to here also 60, right? Okay, so this is how it will look like. It will be exactly a straight line from there, because you can, regardless of, for example, if you are just here, then also 60 plus 60, three of them here, so it will make 180 degree right here. Yeah, so this will be a straight line emerging from this point, and you can also apply formula, you will get the same thing. So this point, it is equal to intersects, right? So you can actually calculate from here to here, it is a B, and from, so this, if this is a B and this is 60 degrees, so tan 60 degree equal to this divided by this, right? And hence tan 60 degree is, let us say this is this one is X, let's say it's called Y. So Y divided by B is equal to tan 60 degree, which is root 3, and Y equal to, that really means Y equal to root 3B, and hence you get here is from here to here, this one is root 3BI, right? And this will be minus root 3BI if this is B. Okay, so we got that. So now distance from here to here, what is the distance? So this is from here to here is B from root 3. So B square plus root 3B square. So 1 plus 3B square, so 4B square. Then you square root of that, you get 2B. So from here to here, from this point to this point is 2B. Okay, and then what? Then in that case, what will be the gain? Gain meaning that what will be the magnitude of this? Magnitude of that will be simply from at that point the magnitude will be GS and HS at S equal to when you have S equal to root 3BI, you will get equal to 1 over 2B, that is due to 1, and then 3 of them you get will be K here also, K over 4B 8BQ. Okay, what we see here is whenever you have a point which is on the imaginary axis, that will indicate a this is marginally a stable location. Yeah, that really means this point has a lot of meaning. One meaning is the phase margin is 0, gain margin is 0. Yeah, so that really means that will be equal to 1. Why? That really means the gain margin 0. Yeah, so that gain margin is 0 and phase margin also 0. Also 0. That's what the meaning is. Yeah. So if that is the case, you will get K equal to simply 8BQ, and this will be the answer. Yeah. There are many ways of doing it. This what I solved it applying the first you draw the root locus, and then you apply the what you understand, what is the insight you have get, and based on that you will find out. There are other methods as well. I want to elaborate that whenever you have a root let's say there is a one root locus, and when it crosses the imaginary, this is the real, this is the imaginary, okay, real S, or equal to sigma, basically imaginary S equal to omega. So whenever it crosses the imaginary axis, that is the point of marginal stability, you call it, right? Marginal stability. Or what is the meaning of that? Remember that when you say marginal stability, and wherever it crosses that really means the same point. I will just write a marginal stability. Actually, this is unstable only, but I'm referring to this point. This point indicates marginal stability, and this is what is the meaning of that. If this is the case, that means gain margin and phase margin equal to 0. Hence the body diagram, you will see that 180 degree minus 180 degree, or here the gain 0 decibel will match, right? So you get that. So body plot will have this point on the body diagram will have phase equal to minus 80 degree and gain equal to 1. Now this what about Nyquist plot? So Nyquist diagram, Nyquist plot, you will see this point will indicate that Nyquist diagram will pass through minus 1. So in Nyquist plot, right, passes through minus 1. Through minus 1 plus 0i. Okay, so this is the meaning of that. Okay, and then Raoult stability. Raoult stability, what will you see? 0 in the first row, first column. Okay, this point results into a 0 in the first column. Okay, so this is how the different meaning is, and the same point, the root locus crosses imaginary axis, or intersects. Okay, so these things are inside. You can look at them. Whenever it intersects here, the phase margin and gain margin has to be 0, and hence that really means that the gain means the magnitude has to be equal to 1, and hence you make it equal to 1 and you get the value. And you can apply other methods as well. You can do the Raoult stability check, and you make one statement which has k, that you make equal to 0, you will get the value of k. That you can do. Or simply you can just in this case you can also put the value of some s equal to j omega, and you can proceed with that also. If you do not have the insight, you can also work like this one. You know that root locus equation is given by 1 plus gs and hs, right, equal to 0. It has k included already, so that really means 1 ks plus b cube is equal to 0, and hence that will make it s plus b cube plus k equal to 0. And now you put, since this is crossing this imaginary axis, so you can put s equal to j omega or I omega, and you get j omega plus b, j or I, instead of j I am writing j. So this is j omega plus b cube plus k equal to 0, and then you just expand it. You will get minus j omega cube, right? Then you get plus 3 minus okay, minus 3 omega square b, okay, then plus 3 j here plus 3 omega b square plus b cube plus k equal to 0. Yeah, and then from here you can find out the value, but the imaginary one. So you have this one, so what you get that really means imaginary part will be 0, so minus omega 3 plus 3 omega b square equal to 0, and from there you will get b either omega equal to 0, okay, or b equal to you get omega square equal to 3b square, and you get omega equal to root 3b, and we already have root 3b, right? So you can relate, and you can see, oh, you're already there. Yeah, so omega root 3b, and now the value of k, so k will be k equal to, from here you can get the real part we get from here, and what we get minus 3 omega square b, right, plus b cube plus k equal to 0, k equal to 3 omega square b minus b cube is equal to 3 and omega square, and what is omega square will be 3 times 3 b square times b minus b cube equal to 9 minus 1 8 b cube. So you get k equal to 8 b cube, which is the answer that we got from earlier also we got, right? So this was equal to 1, and hence we got k equal to 8 b cube in this case as well. Yeah, so the value will be, this is the answer, k equal to 8 b cube. Next question is number 10, and here again we have gs times hs, which the open loop transfer function is given as k, and then we have s plus a, and here we have s square plus b square is given. Okay, and we have to find out the angle of departure. At s equal to minus bi. Okay, so again, if you see looking at the root locus, it will be very easy to actually do it. So you have 0 here, minus a, and then you have 2 poles here, so plus bi and this minus bi, right? And this, you know that this is going to be, okay, so root locus go this way also. So it will start from here, it will make a circle goes like this. This is a perfect circle. Okay, so this is a circle, and you know that if this is a circle, then this is the angle of departure is this one. This is the angle. Yeah, so this is how do you find out? So this is the angle. So this is 0 degree, 90 degree, and then we have this degree, this one, right? So okay, so we have to find out the angle of departure is nothing but from here to here. This is the angle of departure. So this is the phi we are doing. Okay, so angle of departure phi is equal to what? So now this is from here to here. From here to here, this one is 90 degree. We know that. We can also measure the angle here. So we have this angle. So you see here like this. So we have this angle plus 90 degree. Yeah. So this phi will be equal to minus 90 degree. So which is here to here is minus 90 degree, and then you have theta here minus theta. where theta is equal to this angle. Theta is this angle, means theta is this angle. Yeah, so how can we find out? So here to here it is A, here to here is B, right? So theta is nothing but 90 degree minus, we have tan inverse B over A. That's it. So phi will be like this one. Yeah? This will be also in 90 in degrees, right? Need to get the answer. This is the answer. Question 11. This is similar to, actually I should have taken up this question with that only. So I discussed in question 9, if you see, and then we have GS times HS equal to K over S plus B cube. And here earlier the idea was to find out the K value when it crosses here. So as I said, this will be minus B here, and this will be going like this one. So we have here the 60 degree, here also this will be 60 degree, and so on, right? And this point we already derived basically. So right now what is this asking the question? Question is if S equal to plus minus AI is the point of intersection of the root locus with the imaginary axis, then A equal to 1. That's what it tells you. So this we have already solved while when we had to find out the value of K at this point of intersection. We actually solved for this already, and we found out that if this is B and this point was, we already did there, root 3 BI, right? So this will be minus root 3 BI. Now hence the value is A equal to root 3B, right? So plus minus it already written. So A will be simply root 3B, and this is the answer. Next question is question number 12, and here is also GS times HS, and this is given to be 1 the S plus B cube, okay, and K equal to 1, so it is given like this one, and you have to find out what is the phase margin for this one. Phase margin. Okay, now if you have insight, you can plot graphically, you can do very fast. So what is the meaning of that? So you can have S plane, look at that where this point is. This point is here, this is minus B, and what is the meaning of so this will have I omega, right? This I omega is a varying. So at any point omega, the phase is given by this, right? So this is the by one of them it is made, if it is made by phi like this one, right? And this the point is I omega. So that really means from here to here omega. So you can say that basically the tan phi made by single point, yeah, so it is a repeat, 3 of them, so you have to multiply by 3, but just a single point makes tan phi is equal to omega over phi, sorry, omega over B. Omega over B is the angle it makes, right? So this is this one. So actually the phase, this G I omega H I omega will be given by simply, see here, this is 0 and this is denominator, right? So that's why it will be negative, right? So this will be negative. So 0 minus and negative value of what? 3 of them, whatever is making. So it will be 3 of them tan inverse omega over b. So this is what the graphically what the meaning is. Yeah. So okay, and from here to here, what is the value? This will be from here to here. Of course, 3 of them. So if from here to here the value is root under b square plus omega square, right? And so graphically this means g I omega and h I omega, this is given by 3 of them. So this will be 1 for each. So we have b square plus omega square and a square root, 3 of them, 3 over 2. So this is what this one is. So here we are getting this way. Now what happens when the phase margin is taken? When the phase margin, this is equal to 1, right? Omega, where phase margin is measured, right? And hence from here we know that simply b square plus omega square equal to 1, right? So okay, so that really means that when b square plus omega equal to 1, there the phase, the phi at there will be given by at this omega. Which omega? This one omega, where the phase margin is measured. When which omega? This omega. This equal to 1 omega. So at this phi will be given by, so we can express like tan inverse, this phi is right now, this we have to impose. Okay, so that really means that here, for example, phi, we can write it as cos, for example, cos inverse will be b over root under omega square plus b square, right? So it is this statement the same basically, and equal to, but since this is equal to 1, so we can just write cos inverse b. So we have phi, which is cos inverse b at when this becomes equal to 1, right? And hence the phase margin will be equal to, we have 180, right? And we have to minus, right? So we have to do like this one. So 180 degree minus 3, and tan inverse this, tan inverse omega over b is equal to 180 minus 3 cos inverse b. So this is the answer. This is the answer, right? 180 minus 3 cos inverse b. You can also use that direct method, and you know that in that case simply z I omega h I omega, and we know this is equal to 1 over, and this will be simply omega square plus b square 3 over 2, and we know that this is equal to 1, right? So that really means omega square plus b square equal to 1, and an angle g I omega h I omega is, we know 0 minus 3, right? 3, and then we have angle of what? I omega b plus I omega, right? So b plus I omega is equal to minus 3, this is nothing but tan inverse omega over b, and will be equal to minus 3, and you apply this condition equal to cos inverse omega over root omega b over omega square b square equal to minus 3 cos inverse, and this equal to 1, hence this will be B. Hence the phase margin equal to 180. Always you add 180 to that, minus 3 cos inverse B, right? So this is the answer. So you can apply the formula, but you know, so but you also have to have some insight what you are doing, you know. So but that's why I explain the graphical method also, the more insight into it. Okay. Number 13, same problem, but now we have to find out the gain margin. Okay, now look at the graphical method. I will go through. So this is what minus B, and it tells where the phase is. We have to take the omega where phase is minus 80 degree. So minus 80 degree means that really means 3 of them. So it will be 60, right? 60 multiplied by 3. You have 3 of them. Hence the angle we have to take 60 from here. So here to here B, and we know that if 60 here, this will be root 3B, right? So hence omega equal to root 3B gives you where phase is, phase equal to minus 80 degree, right? Okay, minus because 1 over this, so hence whatever you are getting, you have to put minus in front of that. So now the from here to here is what is the value? This is B, 2B. This is B. This is root 3B. This will be 2B, right? So that really means at that, let's say call m omega naught. At that omega naught, G I omega naught and H I omega naught, right? So at that will be given by what? Will be 1 over whatever the distance it has, right? So distance from here to 2B and Q, right? 3 of them. So this will be 1 over 8BQ, right? So this is what that is. Now the phase, this is where at this point it is like this. So phase margin will be equal to what we do? 20 log of 1 over this, 1 over G I omega naught and H I omega naught. That's what we do, right? So equal to 20 log, and this value is nothing but this 8BQ, right? Or equal to 20 log, and we have 2B, right? Log 10, right? See, this is log 10. Yeah, so 2B cube, hence you get 60 log 2B. Yeah, 60 log 2B, and this is the answer. This is the answer. One thing you do not be confused with the root locus. We are not talking about the root locus here. You know, so here k equal to 1 given means root locus. We are not following any root locus. Here it is the property of the S-plane. When we are seeing that this one is actually the GSHS. This one you can say this is GSHS plane, right? This is this plane. Yeah. So this is not the S plane. Hence it's not a root locus. This is GS times HS plane. Here we are looking at the distance between 2 points will show you the what will be the you can measure. It is a measure of what the magnitude is and angle accordingly. Yeah. So here I think thinking about it, I wouldn't call it GSHS plane. This is S plane only. GSHS plane that becomes the Nyquist and polar diagram, all those. Yeah, so this is not this one. So it is S plane only. This is S plane only, but this is not a root locus. So here we are just having a pole here, and from that basis, for different omega, I am finding out for each of the root, for each of the pole, what is the phase for that pole, one pole, and what is the magnitude of that pole. Only that we are talking about. Okay, and the combined one for GSHS, we have to accordingly sum all the angles and multiply all the magnitudes. Yeah. So you can also apply formula to find out the gain margin. And how? So we know that when gain margin you are calculating, then you will get this, the GS or GI omega times HI omega will be equal to 1 over B plus I omega, this, and this is equal to minus 80 degree. Yeah, and that really means that 1 over BI omega is minus 60 degree, and that tells you that the angle of B plus I omega equal to 60 degree, and hence we have tan inverse omega over B equal to 60 degree, right? Or omega equal to root 3b. That's what it tells you, right? Once you have omega, we come back to find out this G I omega H I omega is equal to 1 over, and then omega equal to root 3. Yeah, so we have is equal to b square plus omega square 3 over 2 is equal to 1 over, and b square and 3b square 3 over 2, and hence we get 1 over 8b cube. Yeah, once you have that, we get the same value here, and then you follow the procedure, this one, phase margin equal to this, and you will finally get this value. So this is the answer. Okay, question 14, and it is telling you, asking you number of encirclements of point minus 1, okay, for Nyquist plot. So Nyquist plot. So basically it depends on whether the system is this given k equal to 1. Okay, so it's whether system is stable or not. It depends on n equal to, as you know, n equal to z minus p. Yeah, so where z is a number of zeros. Number of zeros of what? Of 1 plus GS HS. Yeah, this is what number of zeros of this, right? Means the number of roots of this one is number of zeros, and number of poles is this one. The number of poles is for the open loop and the closed loop both have same. So number of poles in this case 3, so we have 3. Right? So depending on how many zeros we have, you can tell how many encirclements it will have. Again, it depends on various way you can solve. It is not one way of solving it. One way is to just put k equal to 1. You just plot the Nyquist diagram and see really how many loops are there. So you can see that. Okay. Second thing will be just look at the root locus, and from there also we can determine. So we have seen already, so this will be is a minus b here, and we know that there will be one root locus goes like this one, the other goes like this one to infinity to the other, right? So for this one we have this 60 degree here, and this one is 60 degree. Yeah, so and one of the questions, so we actually found out the value here of k, right? And k was found to in order to this will make the whole thing the magnitude equal to 1, right? And that really means that point is basically the k is coming to be 8b cube. Yeah, why 8b cube? This is k. I should write k equal to this. At this point, k is equal to 8b cube, because this is b, this is root 3b. If you put root 3b here, I root 3b, yeah? So, and then what happens? This is equal to 2b and power 3, so 8b cube over, and k over this has to be equal to 1, because this is the marginal stability point, and hence k becomes like this. So this is the 8b cube like this one. Okay, and we know that this point is k equal to 0, right? So it's all depends. If k is greater than, you can see that if k is less than 8 BQ, if k is less than 8 BQ, then what will you get? You will get, this will be stable. It will be stable. And when it is stable, then no zeros. Will have no zeros. Yes. Okay, so that will make z equal to 0. Sorry, there is a, okay, by mistake I wrote 3. So it cannot be 3 because this tells you the poles which should be on the right half of the S-plane. So the P will be, in this case, P equal to 0 actually. Okay, so this is the P equal to 0 we have. Yeah. So now if it is stable, then number of zeros zeros on the right S-plane will be 0, right? And unstable, if unstable, so if k is less than this, then it is stable. Yeah, so that we know. And second thing is if k is greater than this value 8 BQ, then it will be unstable. Yeah, and that really means z will be how many? So if k is greater than this value, then we have points here and we will have point here. There will be 2 roots or 2 zeros of 1 plus GSHS on the right hand side, right? Okay, so in that case z will be 2. Now we have to check what is the value of b given. Okay, so in your question the b is such that in one case this will be this one, in other case it will be this one. Okay, so we can find out from here. What we have given is k is equal to for us k is equal to 1, right? So since k equal to 1, that really means if 1 is less than 8 BQ, that really means if b is greater than 1/2, right? Then stable, and then z equal to 0, and that tells us 0 minus 0, n equal to 0. Yeah. Okay. If we have the other one, we have 1 greater than 8 BQ, that really means this is unstable, and okay, this will write the otherwise, that is b is less than half, right? Then unstable, and then z will be equal to 2, right? So we will have z equal to 2 in that case, and we have z equal to 2 and n equal to z minus 0 equal to 2 in that case. So simply look for the value of b. If b is less than half, then n should be equal to 2, which will be the answer. If b is greater than half, then it's stable, and then n will be equal to 0. Okay. So there were 2 questions. So already number 14, let's say this is number 14 question, and this will be number 15. Okay. 2 type question depending on the value of b. Remember that questions that we discussed, number 14 and 15, we can also use using the Routh's stability criterion. So GSHS equal to k over s plus bq is given, right? So what will you do? So the characteristic equation is 1 plus gs times hs equal to 0, where k equal to 1, right? So you put k equal to 1 in that case, and what you get is s plus bq plus 1 equal to 0. Now you apply the Routh's criterion here, yeah. So and based on that you can have, so you will see that how many the times the sign is changing, and based on that you can also find out, yeah. So but that is a long method, yeah. So but you can also do, so let's see, sq plus 3bs square plus 3b square s plus bq plus 1 equal to 0, and you can have s cube s square s and s naught. S cube you have 1, then 3b, then you have 3b square, and then bq plus 1, right? Okay, and then you will have here 9b cube, okay, 9b cube minus b cube minus 1 divided by 3b, right? This is 0 0, so it will be 0 here, yeah. And then here you will have this bq plus 1, yeah. So depending on this value, this one, if you see that all how many times it is changing, right? So depending on this is the here, depending on this whether it is changing or not, that is going to decide whether it is going to work or not. So how? So let's say stable, it's all of them is positive, b is positive is given already. Then what we get? We get 8, this one is nothing but 8 bq minus 1 over 3b has to be greater than 0, right? And that tells us that 8bq has to be greater than 1, yeah, or bq has to be greater than 1 over 8, and b has to be greater than 1 over 2, right? So same criteria what you got there, you are getting the same thing. So if b equal to greater than 1, then positive, 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 no sign change, no sign change, no sign change. Hence, there is no roots on the right half S plane, yeah, and that tells you n will be simply equal to 0, yeah. Okay, so n equal to 0. Why? Because that tells you z equal to, that tells you z equal to 0. No sign change, say z equal to 0, and since p equal to 0, hence n equal to 0, right? N equal to z minus p equal to 0 answer. Okay, if it is not so, if it is negative, it is coming negative, if negative, then you will get b is less than half, right? And if that is the case, then it will have positive, positive, negative, positive, two sign change. Positive, positive, positive to negative, one sign, negative to positive, second sign change. So have two sign change. Change means z equal to 2, right? And hence n equal to 2 minus 0 equal to 2. In that case, there will be 2. So you can apply the Routh's, we used the Routh's stability criteria, right, to solve this problem. Which one? Number 14 and 15, the problems we just discussed. Now number 16 to 19, it is based on plotting a Nyquist plot, and Gs times Hs is given to be k over s plus bq, where k equal to 1. So that's also given. Okay, the question it is asking is in the Nyquist, basically Nyquist plot, when you make, then it is asking where it is going to make. So actually you can if you plot, it will look like something like this. Yeah, so this is going to be like this one. Yeah, and hence it will go like this. Yeah, so this is how the plot will be. It will go like this one. This is how the plot will be. So anyway, you can either plot it or just simply you can find out. Yeah. So I'm asking where it is. What is the point of intersection on the positive real axis or imaginary axis, and on the negative real axis? That this point, and this point. I'm asking which these points are. So you can find out. So what is the meaning of that? Meaning here, this is you can. We note that this point, this is a polar plot, right? So the value from here to here, so we can write this as G I omega H I omega, and this gives you the radius, which will equal to this is k equal to 1, so 1 over, and we have b plus I omega to power 3, right? And then we have like this one, and hence you get 1 over b square plus omega square and 3 over 2. Right? And you can put different value, you can get different value, but what we want to find out to this one, so we can find out from the angle we know. And what is the angle G I omega H I omega will be equal to simply minus 3 angle of b plus I omega, right? And which will equal to minus 3 and you have tan inverse, and then you have omega over b. Yeah. Okay. Now we are talking about this one is omega is equal to this is about the phase, right? So at this point, our phase should give 0. So this, let's call this one as phi. Let's call it phi, right? So this phi here will be 0, right? The phi is 0. This is phi equal to minus 90 degree. This is phi equal to minus 180 degree, and this is phi equal to 90 degree, or this is 90 degree or minus 270 degree, right? Okay, so actually you write minus 270 degree only because it's coming from here 3 times this. Now this minus 3 tan omega over b, and we want this when the question is at the real axis where they intersect. That real axis means from here angle is 0 degree. So if phi is we want phi equal to 0, that really means omega has to be equal to 0, and you will put this value here, right? So that means let's call this one is amplitude A value, capital A. Okay, and that tells us A equal to what? 1 over b square 0, and then 3 over 2, and simply you get equal to 1 over b cube will be the answer. Okay, so this is done for say number 16 is done. This about this one. This is phi equal to 90 degree. Phi equal to 90 degree, that really means we are asking the whole thing is the phi equal to minus 90 degree. That really means this one of them, that really means tan inverse omega over b equal to 30 degree. That's what it tells, right? So 30 multiplied by 3 is 90, and that tells us that 1 over root 3 will be equal to omega over b. Yeah, and hence we know omega equal to b over root 3. Then we can put that value, right? So a will be equal to 1 over b square plus b square over 3, and then 3 over 2, right? So this will be the answer in that case. It will be number 17. You will get this. Yeah. Similarly, we can have number 18. And where we are asking where it is intersecting this axis, negative. Yeah. So in that case, you will have the phi equal to, you can have phi equal to minus 180 degree, and that tells you that tan inverse this one will be 60 then, right? That tell you tan inverse omega over b will be 60 degree, the same process, yeah? And that makes us root 3 equal to omega over b, okay, and that is omega equal to root 3b, yeah, and hence amplitude, the distance d, we call it d, yeah. So this is the, actually this is what the d is, distance we asked, right? So let's write a equal to d equal to like this, yeah? This is d is asking. Okay, so this the value the d is equal to 1 over, so b square plus 3b square, so you get simply 1 over 8 pq. This will be answer in this case. So basically, the first one is the distance, this one on the real axis. Second one is that this distance where it intersects the imaginary axis, and third one is this d is this distance from here to here where it is intersecting the negative real axis. Okay, so far all the values we assumed k equal to 1 and then we calculated, okay, because we have 1 and 1. Okay, so what we see here, if we change value of k, then this is going to expand, right? So if I'm increasing k, it is going to expand, okay? So even if at k equal to 1, if let us say point minus 1 is here, if you increase k, then this point can exactly be here. And that is what the question 19 is. Question 19 is asking you, if the Nyquist diagram, this is passing through minus 1, then what is the value of k? K equal to what if passing through minus 1. Okay, so and we can find out from here also, right? So, and question 18, what we get? This distance is 8 over bq. The distance is 8 over bq when phi is minus 80 degree, and this is with k. This is with k equal to 1. Okay, if we had a k, you have the k multiply here, then is simply a will be k over everything, right? You will have here distance will be k over b square plus omega square 3 over 2, right? Okay, so the distance from here to here, distance will be 1 over k over bq. So what k over 8 bq equal to should be equal to 1, and hence k will be equal to 8 bq, right? So this will be the answer in that case. Yeah. So this passes through this one when k equal to 8 bq. Now you realize that this is the same question actually that one of the question you had, that's for the root locus. It asked me where it crossing the imaginary axis, right? What is the value of k? That it asked. The root locus for this one, if wherever it is intersecting the imaginary axis, what is the value of k? And the k value was exactly the same one like this one. Why? Because both are exactly the same thing, telling you the same thing. Whatever the point on root locus is, yeah, on the imaginary axis, that really means that Nyquist diagram is passing through minus 1, exactly the same thing. Hence, you get the same k value in both the cases. Now, question number 2021. are about a feedback loop which is given here. So we have GS and then we have HS negative, this is positive, goes like that. Given HS equal to 1 and GS is equal to A over S plus B, and this is RS and this is CS. What is given is RT is given. RT is given to be some value. Let's say this is RA naught, capital A, sine omega t is given, this value is given, okay, and it is also said that Ct is equal to B sine omega t plus some value f is given, okay. So then it is asking you this, in one question it asking you what is the value of B is given, this is given, and B equal to what and F equal to what. Yeah. So okay, so basically very easy. First of all, remember this is given like this one, this is unity feedback loop. So I'm talking about RS here, CS here, so this is the black box, right? So we have to know the what is the transfer function for the whole block, and all those things will be simply given by the GS over 1 plus GS times HS, right? This is what will be. This will be RS here and CS here, and then GS over 1 plus like this one will be simply 1 over A over S plus, and then you have B plus A, right? So this what this will be simply, this is the closed loop transfer function. Yeah, so this is a closed loop transfer function. Okay, so now the TS, the closed loop transfer function, will be equal to A over S plus B plus A, and hence T, the frequency response we get Ti omega, okay, that tells us T, okay, here only type A over S plus B, right, like this one, B plus A plus I omega, right? Okay, and hence the, what do you find out? The magnitude, right? So this tells us this is equal to what? This is CS over RS, the Ci omega over Ri omega. Yeah. So that really means Ci omega. Okay. We are asking the magnitude, right? So this is the magnitude of B, right? So B will be, magnitude of this one will be equal to magnitude of Ti omega multiplied by Ri omega, and will be equal to this. Yeah. So here we will get A over B plus A plus I omega multiplied by Ri omega. Ri omega is magnitude of that, Ri omega. Magnitude of this is A basically. So what we get simply is A over root B plus A square plus omega square multiplied by, this is Ri omega, which is A. So this will be like this. A small a multiplied by the capital A divided by B plus A whole square plus omega square. So small a, capital A divided by root b plus a square plus omega square. Okay. Now the second question, this we can this is solved. The second part is asking what is the value of f. So what is the value of f in this one, right? So B is done with this question 20. The question 21 is what is f, and for f will be equal to, from here we can find out, right? So f will be equal to is tan inverse, simply this angle of this one, t I omega, simply. Okay. And what is the angle? Angle will be simply the 0 minus tan inverse, and you have omega over b plus a. That's it. Yeah. So this will be the answer. Question number 22, and here GS is given to be a over s plus b square. Okay, and hence this is this one, hs equal to 1. So we need to find out the closed loop transfer function, which will be ts equal to a over s plus b square over 1 plus a over s plus b square simply, and that is going to make it a over s plus b square plus a. Yeah. Okay, now we have to find out the same kind of question. It has given rt equal to a sine omega t. Okay, what is the value of c, and ct is equal to b sine omega t plus f, then b equal to what, and f equal to what. Yeah. So we do the same way, and okay, only b equal to, what is b? Okay, f I did not ask. So how to solve it? Same way as this one. So b will be equal to it will match, so a, okay, a times and transfer function, right, t I omega, simply, right? Okay, and that will be equal to a multiplied by a, and then we will have this one, s plus I, sorry, b plus I omega square plus a. Yeah, that will be equal to a, right? And then we will have here b square minus omega square, right, plus a, and plus 2 I omega b, right? So, or b equal to, simply from here we get b equal to a divided by, and then we have this real, this is imaginary, and hence we can have root under, and we have a plus b square minus omega square, right, a plus b minus omega square plus we have 4 b square omega square. Okay, so this will be the answer. Now question number 23 and 24, so objective type, and here the Nyquist diagram is given. So this is something like this, and you have so this is how it is, and what is given here is going like this, and then like this, and like this. Yeah. So in one of the questions minus 1 is here. Yeah, minus 1 is here, and asking you, question 23, asking you whether the system is stable or not, true or false. Yeah, so we have to look at n equal to, right, n, what do you, and it says that there is no pole in the right half of the S-planes. So p equal to 0 it says, right? Okay, so p equal to 0. So which one? For the 1 plus gh will have no pole in the right hand side. Okay, since the open loop transfer function does not have a pole on the right hand side, and hence the closed loop also will not have, because the pole they share, right? Okay, now number of 0 we don't know, we have to find out number of 0 equal to what, right? But n is, you can see here, n is here it is minus 1, and here this one is making plus 1. So you get minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0. So n equal to 0, right? So z means number of zeros of the closed loop transfer function in the right and S plane will be z equal to n plus p, right? And hence n is 0 and p is also 0, hence 0, z equal to 0, hence it does not have any 0. 1 plus gs does not have any 0 on the right side, right? Meaning that the characteristic equation of the closed loop transfer function, so 1 plus gs is the characteristic equation of the closed loop transfer function, will not have any 0 on the right S plane, and hence this is stable, right? Okay, now the second question, this is 23, and now go to 24. In 24 we have instead of minus 1 being at this point, this is at this point, and then this is asking you how we can make it stable. We have seen that putting here which makes it stable, and here it is unstable. Why unstable? You can see that here it goes clockwise, comes like this, clockwise here, and this also clockwise. What we see is equal to n equal to 2, and also given that the pole is equal to 0, right? So p equal to 0. So n, so z will be equal to n plus p, 2 plus 0 equal to 0. Hence there were two zeros of 1 plus gs on the right S plane, and hence that tells you the characteristic equation. That really means the roots of the characteristic equation of the closed loop system will have two zeros on the right S plane, and hence it's not stable, right? Not stable. Okay, now this is not stable and this is stable. How you can do it? You know that if we have GH, for example, I'm talking about GH, it will have some gain and some value multiplied here and then here. If you increase the K, what you are going to do? You are increasing the radius without disturbing the phase. Meaning that what happens is if you increase K, now this point will come here. More K, this point will go here. Here, more K, this point will come here, and this point will go somewhere here, right? And then since this point will come here, and this point goes somewhere here, automatically minus 1 is included inside that, and hence it will have n equal to 0, hence it will be stable. So what you need to do is increase K. So, right? So increase K to make it stable. So this is the option, is correct option. Now the last question, number 25, that was a matching type, and you have a system given, the Nyquist plot, and we have like this one. Yeah, so we have like this, and then you have like this one. Yeah, so this is coming like this one. Here it is going like this, and here only arrow is given here and goes like this one. Minus is minus 1 here. Yeah. Okay. So now the questions is the first one is asking you if if there is no zeros, one pole, so p equal to 1, given the pole of the if GS, it's telling you GS is the feed forward transfer function of a unity feedback system. Hence, the closed loop system is given by GS over 1 plus GS, right? Right? So this is what that is. So it is telling you GS does not have any pole. That really means 1 plus GS also does not have any pole on the right side. So given p equal to 1 and it is telling you p equal to 1 means there is one pole on the right hand side, right? And it is telling you there is no zero of GS, both talking about the GS only, okay? So that really means if G does not has one pole on the right S plane, that means 1 plus GS also has one pole on the right S plane. If Z equal to 0 for the open loop system, does not, we don't know about this one, Z equal to what, we don't know. And if Z equal to 0, then only system is stable, otherwise it's not stable. Yeah. And now N, how can we find out? G we don't know, but do we know N for this system? So Nyquist plot is, it tells you how many number of encirclement for this system is making, right? So this we have going goes like this one here. So we get, what we see is anti-clockwise, right? So N equal to -1. So look at here now. Now G we don't know, but G we know that Z equal to will be N plus P, and N is equal to -1, and then we have P is equal to N equal to -1, and the pole is number 1, and then we get equal to 0. So Z equal to 0, hence is stable. So this case, when you have GS has one pole on the right S plane and there is no 0 on the right S plane, then in that case, actually this is meaningless, it has no meaning. So this is stable. Now second question, it tells you, ask you if P equal to 2 and that means GS has both of them. So both of them is about GS. If GS has 2 poles on the right S plane and no 0 on the right S plane, then what is whether it's stable or not? So we can N is again -1 only, and Z will be equal to N plus P is equal to N is -1, and then P equal to 2 and equal 1. So G equal to 1. So it means the characteristic equation of the closed loop system has one root on the right S plane, hence that tells you unstable. Okay. Number 3, it tells you GS has 2 zeros, no poles, P equal to 0. Yeah. Sorry, I think it says Z equal to 1. Okay, so this has number of zeros, G, and it says there is no poles of GS on the right S plane. So this is meaningless actually, okay, regardless of what the 0 of this open loop system is, we have to find out for the closed loop system. So for 1 plus GS system, for this one we have P equal to 0, we get from it will be the same as the GS one. We don't know Z, but so N equal to -1. So what we get? Z equal to N plus P, right? And which is N is equal to -1 and plus P is equal to 0. We get -1. So this does not make sense. Z cannot be negative, right? So this is possible that in that case, since this is the no arrow is given, that really means possible that maybe we can write maybe n equal to 1, since this is not given, maybe this is going like this and going like this again, yeah, something like that. This is going like this and going like this and this like this, yeah. So in that case it will be clockwise. So n equal to 1. So maybe n equal to 1. If n equal to 1, in that case we can have z equal to n plus p, n is 1 plus p equal to 0, right? N equal to z equal to 1. Now number of 0 of 1 plus gs is on the rightest plane is 1. That means it's not stable. So this is unstable. Yeah. Okay. Number 4, the same logic, regardless of g, the same question as third one, but g is equal to 2 in this case. Yeah. But since it will not depend on the 0 of the open loop system, so you can do the same analysis and you will find out that finally n has to be equal to 1 only, otherwise it will not match, g will be negative, right? The same thing, exactly the same thing will be in this case when g equal to 2 and n has to be equal to 1 in that case, then only it will make sense, and j equal to 1, and hence it will be unstable. So this is how we have solved all the questions of quiz number 3. Okay, that is all for this course. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this course, and now we have the INSEM exam. So I wish you all the best for that.